So again, thank you very much for joining today. The purpose of today's webinar is just to give you a brief overview, some of the background of Integrity, what we can offer, along with some of the applications and integrations we've completed so far. The first step that I will take you through is our knowledge capture wheel. So this can be broken down into three main components. The green elements are typically based on volume. So we have a lot of existing customers leveraging standard document management practices where they're scanning and archiving documents. So scanning physical records and archiving them within the central system. We then have the light blue modules where the core content management and document management features come into play. So the likes of our collaboration room functionality, where core document management principles can be applied to all inbound and outbound correspondence. And we also then have the dark blue, which is typically where workflow happens. So this is heavy processing of documents and data, could be case management processes, accounts payable, HR. And today's webinar, we're going to predominantly focus on complaints management. However, this type of approach works out all different correspondence within the organization and within the businesses you're targeting. So with that in mind, with complaints management, what we're going to go through is effectively how different modules and different elements of this wheel make up certain aspects. So this includes the capture channels, the capture side of things to understand where documents and content can come from into a business, along with how we actually process this information as well. So how a user within the system can accurately and accurately process the content distributed to them, but also accurately report back to the business how well they're doing against certain targets and SLAs. So as we go through this, please make sure you apply all of this to the different scenarios and understand that this is a modular system. So if an organization or customer is just looking for pure content management, document management, and perhaps at a later date, we can then expand into other departments, other workflow processes as well. So this approach has been very successful for ourselves, where we've been able to effectively land and then expand into organizations as they start to see the value in the knowledge capture platform. So the way we typically see knowledge capture is it's simply a structured content management system behind the scenes that has different skins applied to the data. So it doesn't matter the channel, the source of the content, whether it be unstructured or structured data, we treat all of this information as pretty similar content. And we apply the same document management principles and structure to this information, so versioning, security settings, and making sure only the right people get access to this content. And this can typically be broken down into four areas as to how people actually interact and manage this content. Firstly, it's the capture side of things, so whether this be unstructured from the web, so social media, marketplaces, emails, for example, or whether it be capturing via physical content, so physical paper coming through your business, being scanned and uploaded. We then have application skins, which effectively sit on top and enable users to actually process this information as well. So being able to use a case management system to correspond with a customer and keep track of all of the inbound and outbound correspondence relating to a particular case. This then feeds into various reporting mechanisms, so being able to, from a business perspective, understand volumes and understand how many cases are being processed, but also from an individual user perspective, understand exactly how long it's taking for cases to be processed, how they're doing against certain SLAs and targets, and also to understand if there's any issues in the organization. So it can help with resourcing, help with distribution of workload, and to ensure your business is focused and working efficiently. We then also have various mobile applications which enable us to actually look at this content and process this information on the fly. So it's not all just web or client-based, it can also be leveraged across different mobile and tablet platforms as well. And obviously in today's day and age, pretty much everyone is consistently using their phone. So why not translate that into businesses as well that enables productivity on the go. So the first thing that I'm going to take you through today is how we've created our social media platform called SMC4 and how we've integrated this into various ECM systems. So I'm going to talk about how we've connected it into IBM FileNet, so typically the industry-leading repository of choice. And what we're able to do is connect social media data into this repository. So all content from the unstructured sites such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram can all be leveraged and archived in the same repository alongside traditional business data sources. So behind the scenes, we've done all of the hard work to actually connect the two systems up. And what we are basically providing is a free trial to not only yourselves, but to your customers as well. If they have a legacy ECM system, it doesn't necessarily have to be FileNet. I'll show you the others that can be leveraged shortly. But this content can be basically captured online. They can give SMC4 a try, understand a bit more about social media analytics, and then have this information available to them in a secure archive. Obviously, if an organisation is also looking at a new ECM system, then we would welcome working with yourselves to understand if we can be in place to deploy a new ECM system for them as well. So the first demonstration I'm going to go through is how we can actually sign up to this platform and how we can get our ECM systems connected together. So I'm just going to jump into the browser at this point, and we have a web page that is smcapture.com/filenet-connector, and within this page we have a click here to sign up button. So incredibly simple, we can click here to sign up. This will launch a new tab in your browser which provides you with a sign up page, and all you have to do is sign up for a light version, authenticate your email address, and then you'll be granted access to the actual SMC4 platform. Within the light version, you have the ability to capture up to 100 social media messages a day, and then all of these messages can be archived as well. And the way we set up the archiving is if I just log into SMC4, within the administration page, we have a connections tab on the right-hand side. So about 2/3 of the way down, we have connections. And within this, we have a drop-down list as to where we want these documents and data to be archived. So at the moment, we've got it set up to be configured against FileNet P8. So we've got the URL, the message store URL here within this platform. We've got the credentials to actually archive these messages, and we've got various document classes relating to the social media data. So all of this can be set up, and there's various instructions that you can follow as well. But in effect, it's incredibly simple to actually set this process up. And what this will mean is that every single social media message that comes through the SMC4 platform will then be archived within your ECM repository. So again, the list here, it covers things such as CMOD, FileNet, and also anything that's CMIS compliant as well. So the likes of Alfresco, OpenText, SharePoint, for example, all typically use the CMIS standard, and that can also be leveraged to load this content into that repository. So I'll come back to SMC4 shortly, but if I just jump back into the slides and just give you a quick overview as to the pricing model relating to this particular bit of functionality. So we have the light version, which is available for a free trial. This gets you a 2-user system, and you can then look at up to 100 messages per day. So the way the system works is it looks at the social media accounts you've loaded into the platform. So from a business's perspective, you can load your own social accounts in, and it will track all inbound and outbound correspondence that's happening on social media. So any direct mentions to that page or account, and it will pick those up, and any follow-on conversations as well. And then we also offer SMC4 Premium, which is the paid version, and at a low price of just £50 per user per month. That expands the functionality to enable up to 50 different social media accounts to be loaded in at any one time, and also enables the limit of messages to rise to up to 10,000 messages per day. So this enables the vast capture. So if you've got very active social accounts, social sites, you can track a large volume of content very quickly and easily, and have all of that information processed automatically and archived away within your ECM system. So the next steps that we're going to go on to is very much how documents and data is processed by a knowledge capture system. So what we found is these 6 steps on the slide here typically are the processes that most businesses are either struggling with or have bits and pieces of that haven't quite got the full solution. And this is where knowledge capture comes into its own. So quite often we'll find that certain organisations are capturing data and documents from certain channels. Perhaps there's some that are being missed. So typically the online side of things tends to be forgotten about a little bit. They might have their structured data sources, but with knowledge capture we can look to combine all of that information. So whether it be the unstructured side, social, emails, Facebook, the online marketplace, for example, all of this can be brought into a central system along with those structured data sources. So if there's certain systems, certain legacy systems out there that are generating data, it's generating information, so it could be customer relation information, could be help desk or even helpline, customer support information. That can all be brought into the central location, which is number 3, which is the knowledge capture data hub. So this is how we basically see the underlying archive and the underlying system, is all of this content, all of this data is being processed within this central data hub, and we can then start to make some, we can then start to automate some of this data. So this could go to number 4, where a case is created, and as we go through this, I'll show you what the case manager system looks like. Or we have various workflow processes as well. So it could be someone gets notified if a new document is loaded into the platform. It could be that a review process needs to happen. Finally, all of this information is very important to the organization, and there's no point having it, there's no point processing this information if we can't report on it and can't get insights from this. So not only do we have various reporting modules, we also have integration paths into the like of IBM i2. So within IBM i2's case, we're able to take social media data and have that visualized in a different way on i2 charts. So it's not only just the core businesses, so it's not only just retail, manufacturing, banking, finance, for example. We can also start to target law enforcement, government with this type of functionality. So please do keep an open mind as to who you can target and who you can leverage with the actual knowledge capture platform. So one of the organizations that I just wanted to cover off more on the complaint side of things was O2 Telefonica. So O2 Telefonica have been a customer of ours for a number of years now, and they faced a huge challenge in just simply the volume of content that they were being sent on a daily basis. So if you're unfamiliar with O2 Telefonica, they're a phone provider, a cell phone provider here in the UK. And what they were finding was that they were getting content from a wide range of sources. So whether this be social media, email, customer communications via physical sources as well. And all of this was being effectively lost within their current system. So they needed a way in which they could actually understand this information, understand the data, and then also process this information and go back to their customers in a compliant manner. So what we're able to do through the knowledge capture system is basically capture all of that content, analyze that information at source, and then distribute it to the right queues. And what we found is their ability to actually manage their customer correspondence was increased by about 100%. So rather than having to wait over a week to actually respond back to customers, find the data they needed, they were able to very quickly and efficiently send that information back to their customers. That not only improves their customer relationship, it also means that they have a better experience. So perhaps more likely to renew their contract, more likely to recommend them to friends as well. So when we talk about complaints management, it's not just about the negative side of things in someone has had a bad experience with the organization. Providing technology such as this enables organizations to basically turn that on its head, provide a much more positive response back to the customer. If they respond back in a timely fashion, which is, to be fair, expected with social media these days, then they're much more likely to get a positive outcome and much more likely to recommend them to friends and family. So just a few other references and a few other blue chip names that are currently working with integrity and leveraging the knowledge capture platform. So it's currently being used in over 350 different organizations, and there's over 4 million contracted users within our cloud currently. And this ranges from a whole range of different projects relating to case management, complaints management, anti-counterfeit management, all the way through to core document management, so archiving, scanning images, and having those archived within a central and secure location. So really, there is no customer too big or too small for ourselves. Customers on this list range from just multiples, so 2 or 3 users, all the way up to 10, 20,000 users in a single system. So it really is any type of customer you can think of, we can also look to actually leverage and help you target them with this type of platform. So demo number 2 is very much where I want to cover off just a bit more of the social media side and how we've started to basically bring insights into the unstructured side of data. So within our knowledge capture platform, we have a module called SMC4. And what that enables us to do is capture the unstructured side. So we can point this at different organizations and pick up and basically understand what's being said online to these organizations. So at the moment, I've got Vodafone UK loaded into this platform. Basically, not many people like them online. So what we often get is a lot of correspondence. As you can see here, your customer service is absolutely appalling. Disgusted in your customer service, I will be leaving. Obviously, you don't want this content going unnoticed or unresponded to, but when you're getting bombarded with this type of information, it can be very difficult to prioritize and respond back to the sheer volume of content in a compliant and structured manner. So with SMC4, we not only capture all of this content, as you can see, we analyze everything as well. So we use natural language processing and content analytics to basically understand what's happening within this message. So this isn't just keyword searching. This is analyzing the entire message and understanding what's happening within the wider message and within the wider platform. So we've got Facebook messages in this platform as well. We've also got emails that can come into the system. We've got tweets as well, where information is being captured from a whole range of sources and being brought into this central platform. The system itself, you can see we've got different highlighting, and this is where we're prioritizing different messages as well. So anything in dark red is typically a high priority, whereas orange typically is a medium priority message. We've also got a grey, which is perhaps low as well. And this helps an organization basically understand what they need to focus on first. So in the examples at the top here, we've got a whole bunch of complaints, but it's not just complaints management that we can manage here. It's also things like sales activity. So this message at the very bottom here to Vodafone, I'll be leaving you O2 because you're making my contract expensive. I still can't decide between Vodafone and EE. Now at the moment, this has gone completely unnoticed. Neither Vodafone or EE has actually jumped on this message to suggest the customer one way or another. So this came into the system actually yesterday. So it's been over 24 hours and this customer is still probably no closer to making a decision. If you can start to prioritize these messages and get this to a person within your organization that can actually respond, this might lead to more sales, a better customer experience, and potentially even more down the line. So again, it's not just complaints, it's all levels of correspondence. It could be someone just looking to change their address, open up a new account, for example, in the banking and finance world. So again, this type of platform can be leveraged for a whole range of different reasons. So if I just jump back into the slides. So as I said, we basically have sentiment analytics behind the scenes rather than just keyword or phrase analytics. And the example we have on the screen here is around the keyword treated. So ordinarily treated isn't necessarily a complaint, but when it's combined with I've been treated badly by an employee, then that would typically be a complaint. I've been treated for appendicitis or treated my kids to ice cream are not things you want generated into your complaints queue. So what we have behind the scenes is parsing rules where we can start to understand specifically around these types of keywords the actual issues and the false positives, and we can remove those from the system. And what this means is that although the keywords and the messages are actually analyzed, they're not distributed into the complaints queue. So it focuses the people actually responded to this content onto the right messages and to the right content from the get-go. Again, just a few more examples where we've picked up a few different examples of different words, different languages that have been picked up. So things like ripped off again, absolute disgrace. When combined with different keywords and phrases within the actual message, we can then start to prioritize and capture this and make sure it's in the right queue within the system as well. And again, what we're also always doing is analyzing all of this information as well. So in the middle, we've got accommodating being picked up in green, and that's being picked up as a positive. But what we're able to do is look at the wider message, and what we have done since then is understood that actually the not before accommodating means that it's actually a bit of a negative. But with the wider content that we have picked up, so highly disappointed, unsatisfied customer, this message was not categorized as positive. It was overruled, and we understood that it was actually a negative message. We then go back into the system and we can train it a bit further to understand when certain scenarios mean that we have to actually update the categorizations behind the scenes. So this is an ever-evolving process. We not only analyze this content on a daily basis, we also leverage all of our customers' feedback as well. And this is something that can be rolled out to the global organization, the global users of the SMC4 platform, then we'll absolutely look to do that for everyone's benefit as well. So again, on the prioritization of this, typically dark red means it needs urgent action. So staff hung up on me, I'm going to cancel my account, for example. All of these need urgent action in order to avoid perhaps the loss of customer. Medium is perhaps a bit more, can wait perhaps a little bit longer as opposed to the high priorities for things like crap performance or I'm slightly unsatisfied with the response. That can perhaps wait and can be dealt with at a later date. And low priorities might just be ones that you get to after going through the high and mediums. But again, we can help distribute that and prioritize the workload within organizations. As I said as well, the web page is there again for the sign-up process to actually take a look at this system, leverage it yourself, but also get your customers to sign up and play around with the platform and connect it with their legacy ECM systems. And finally, on the sales opportunities again, when we're discussing with organizations, what we often find is these types of messages do generally go unnoticed and unactioned, because if they're not a complaint, the complaints team isn't actually processing them. And these types of messages are not being forwarded through to perhaps the sales department where they can give insights and give information. So it could be just someone wanting to buy a TV, in this case at the very top, where they're asking for very specific advice relating to certain models. And what we're able to do then is distribute that to perhaps the technical team that can provide that information back to that customer in a near real-time basis. It could be that a certain person is having difficulty choosing between two organizations. Whoever can respond to that organization quickly could mean that they actually get a sale from that as well. So it's very important being able to manage this customer correspondence and also understand the fact that people, when they're using social media, they actually demand a pretty immediate response. It's so quick these days just to pick up your phone and send a message into an organization. If that goes unresponded, they're more likely to think negatively of your organization, whereas if you can give them a positive experience, you can often turn that into a long-term customer. So what happens once we've actually understood what the message is? Well, this is where we can start to send this message into various other systems, various processes, to actually make sure something happens with this content. So it's all well and good being able to analyze and understand this information, but if no one does anything with it, then it kind of falls by the wayside. So what we're able to do here is, within the knowledge capture system, we automatically receive the communication, we automatically analyze this information, and then distribute it into the correct work queue. So we've mentioned already things like complaints, change of address, mortgage applications. These are all different work processes and work queues that can be leveraged by the knowledge capture case management system. And these are all different organizations, different perhaps departments within an organization that you can look to target, but they're still leveraging that same underlying platform and the same underlying document management capabilities. So within this system, this is just an example from the SMC4 side of things, where a message has come into the system. In this case, it looks to be from an email account. And what the system has done is, within a single second, has done 4 different actions on this particular message. So it's understood the different categorizations related to this particular message. So it could be a complaint, medium, negative, but also customer request and low priority, high priority complaints. We've then made a judgment call and to say this should go down a high priority complaint work queue based on the content within this message. And we've then created a case within our case system, but also notified an agent as well, saying that a new message has come into the platform. All of this content has happened, and all of these actions have happened automatically without human interaction, and have all taken under a second to actually complete within the system. When we're talking about volumes of messages, this is just simply impossible to replicate if you're relying on manual intervention and humans to actually process all of this content itself. So this leads on quite nicely into what our case management system can do. So we've spoken already about the automatic analysis of the messages, but where do they go to actually be processed, and how are they actually processed? So within this screen, what we have is our KC case management system. At the moment, we've got it focused down on the complaints work queue, but we've got different work queues at the top here where we can search for different cases depending on level of access that I have within the organization. So I'm perhaps a manager or an admin level view where I can see all the different work queues within the organization. If I'm just part of the complaints queue or the complaints team, that's the only work queue I would see. So my work can be incredibly focused, and I can manage the content that's specific to my role. So within the bottom of this screen here, we have the case queue. So this is all of the cases that are open automatically. So anything in red means it's exceeded an SLA deadline. So we've got a few cases here that need urgent attention. And anything in amber, as per the case at the very bottom, we have an approaching deadline, say. So it could be in a few hours' time. If we haven't responded to this customer, then we need to actually trigger off an alert. A manager might get involved. It can then start to be escalated automatically. On the left-hand side, we've got also little lock icons as well. So this denotes a case is currently opened by another user and is in read-only mode. So if I wanted to go into the case and see what's actually happening with the case, I can, but I can't make any editorial changes myself. So that avoids duplication. It means the caseworker who's currently got it open can still process and finish managing this content. So I'm just going to go into the Alicia Cox case here and just show you just some of the different features and functions of the case itself. So in this case, we've got a tweet that's come into the platform. It's Alicia Cox, and they sent in a message about some terrible customer service. So within this, we capture the automatic complaint reference number, which is generated by the system. We've got the time and date as to when this message actually came into the platform as well. And what we can then start to do is assign it to various resolution owners. So you could have a certain resolution owner within the business. That would then appear in their particular work queue. And we can then start to apply deadlines or SLA dates as well. So all of these case details in the top left-hand corner of the screen can be completely configured based on what a customer is looking to capture when a complaint comes in. It could be certain customer reference numbers. And if there's a CRM system behind the scenes where this data already exists, we can do a lookup against that information and pull that data into this case as well. So it's not just a case of double typing everything. This can be fully integrated between different systems that exist within the organization already. We also look to capture all outbound correspondence as well. So within this particular case, we've got two documents. First one being the Alicia Cox tweet into the actual system, and the second message being the actual auto response that we sent out as well. So the system itself can send messages back out that are compliant, and this happens automatically. So it takes a matter of seconds for that data to go back out to the customer. From within the case system as well, though, we also have the ability to respond via social media. So if I select the original message and hit the social media option, it automatically knows that it's a tweet, so my character limit goes down to 140, and I can then distribute a message without having to go back to the native platform or without having to go back into the XMC4 view to actually find this message. It's all available for me to interact with this customer, and my outbound correspondence is then saved against the case as well. So I'll just go back to my original case queue then. We also have this case at the bottom here, and if I double click on this one, what we have within this view is an email trail. So this is an email trail between the organization and a customer, and they've received some pretty bad customer service themselves. But again, we're able to pick up this unstructured source, structure it in a manner that is case-friendly, and enables me to actually process this through to resolution. In this example, we are aware of the customer details already, so we picked up that email address relates to a certain customer of ours, and we can also populate things like address information and customer details relating to perhaps the policy they have or the contract they've taken out with our organization. And within this middle section as well, we've also integrated into things like Microsoft Office. So if I was corresponding with this person and wanted to send out a physical letter based on perhaps complaint resolution or simply an acknowledgement letter, what I can look to do is have this case information pulled into a structured template. So behind the scenes, a business can come up with a template. It could be compliant responses, compliant paragraphs that their case agents and caseworkers can actually use to post this information back to the customer. So within the Word document, we've got things like the reference number, the address information, all pulled in from the case. So again, it's no double typing, and I'm able to simply review this content, see if there's any different information I need to add to it, and then I can send that on to the customer itself. By the add-in option at the top here, I can choose to add in different case fields as well, or there might be some compliant paragraphs that the business has created that I can leverage to actually respond back to a customer in a compliant manner. If I then choose to actually save this back to the case, what this will do is save this document, as a new document back within the case management system. And again, within the case documents, that then gets added as well. So at the moment, we've got it saved as a draft message. I can perhaps go in a bit later on, do some updates to that, and then send it to print queue, and that will then be distributed and sent into the case itself. So this case management system can be used across all kinds of different correspondence. So we've covered off the complaint side of things as well. But any type of workflow process that you're thinking of that a customer has a challenge with, we can absolutely look to work with them in order to build out this type of case process. So a few examples that we use this case system for is complaints management, human resources management, so things such as the joiners, leavers, onboarding processes within the HR systems. We also leverage it for claims management, so this could be insurance claims management, personal automotive insurance claims, for example, can all be leveraged by this platform. New address or mortgage applications are also in use within this platform as well. So any type of structured process can be built in, and behind the scenes we also have things such as checklists that enable businesses or users to actually drive that process, drive that structured process through to resolution. So they have a checklist they have to follow in order to actually ensure the case is filled out compliantly and that they're adhering to any regulations or rules they actually need to bear in mind. This also leads on to various reporting and analytic capabilities as well. So all of that case information, things such as the SLA information, who's actually responding to cases, and also root cause analysis can also be evaluated. So as you get through to closing cases off, there's various closure codes that you can use in order to understand what the reasons were behind these cases coming into the actual platform itself. So this dashboard is all available via real-time reporting. So it's not a case of you have to do batch uploads and find additional time to build these reports out. What we're able to do is provide this straight away, and this can be provided either through the client, which case manager sits in, or it can be provided via the web. So if you have managers or say exec level board members who also need to look at this type of reporting module, you can distribute these types of reports to them. They can simply go in via the web, view the reports they need, but everything is drillable as well. So from a high level perspective, they can see exactly what's happening within the organization. And if they did want to get a low level look and dig a bit deeper into the data, it's there for them to do that. They can simply click and dive into that information to get a bit more insight into that data. So in general, what we're able to do is look at things such as reasons for the call, root cause analysis. We can look to see if it was an internal, external error, if there's certain closure codes associated to that information. And as I said, it's fully drillable as well. So as you start to click through the charts and click through the reports, that type of view will update automatically. So another example as to how we can actually leverage these types of reports for understanding how well a business is doing is things such as this particular example where we can see volume over certain days. So you can see the peaks and troughs as to how well the organisation is processing cases. Obviously, from a complaint standpoint, the lower amount of cases, the better, usually. However, things such as mortgage applications or account opening, typically the higher number of cases would be best for your organisation. So again, it's just different ways in which we can view this data. And what this also leads into is individual analysis as well. So from an individual user perspective, we can see who's processing the most amount of cases and also who is perhaps lagging behind. Is there a reason why they're lagging behind? Is there a reason why they're taking much longer to actually process information? It could be that they're a senior person within the team and therefore all of the difficult cases get handed to them and they then take much longer to actually process as opposed to a few quick and easy ones. It could be a training issue. They simply haven't been given enough training within the organisation and they're struggling to keep up with the demand. Again, from a business perspective, you're able to take all of this data and look at it and then make better business decisions based on that content and based on the information so far. So how does all of this fit together? So we've covered off the capture channels, the capture side of things at the very beginning, where inbound correspondence is coming into your business. So although today's been predominantly focused on things such as complaints, still bear in mind that any type of correspondence can be picked up and processed by this type of platform. It can then go through to the back office staff, customer service staff, where they can start processing this data and actually make sense of the information as well. So the final demonstration that I just wanted to cover off was not necessarily on the complaint side of things, but just to give you an indication as to how we've also integrated our social media platform into other areas as well. So one of the tools that we've also integrated this into alongside things like the content management platforms is a tool called IBM i2. And this is predominantly used within the law enforcement and police state. And this is typically used for investigative purposes. So when there's structured data and you're looking to understand how people are linked together by various charts. So what you would typically do is build out this information based on an investigation where you can then start to display and understand how different cases or different investigations are linked together. Within our platform, we've integrated into the user interface where we then have the ability to run searches across not only the data that we've captured from social sites already, but also new accounts that we're interested in. So if, for example, you have a government or law enforcement customer already and they're struggling with investigations on people of interest, what we're able to do is run a search for either a person or a particular username as well. So if I've got an online alias, I can run a search for that as well, and it will probably bring me back a much more refined list of results. What I can then do is add that to the chart, and that automatically adds that account as an entity to this particular chart as well. And again, I can do this across multiple people, add multiple accounts to a single chart. And what this enables me to do then is do some comparison as to how these people are connected online. So by right-clicking on the account entity, I can come down, expand, and I can go to friends. And what this will do is enable me to actually expand on the latest connections that this particular account has made. So from an investigative side of things, it's very important to actually understand how people are interacting with each other online. And this type of platform enables me to actually look at a big bloom of data very quickly. So we've got a bloom of data here, and we can see that the second account I added onto the chart isn't currently connected to any of the accounts. If I run a similar expansion, what this will look to bring back is when this data is brought back, I should say, the system itself will automatically look for any duplicated accounts already on the chart. So if there's any entities, it will build out the links for me automatically. So previously, organizations were leveraging social media data by exporting it into things such as spreadsheets, Excel data, and then trying to manually analyze this information. Within this type of tool and leveraging the SMC4 platform and the KC platform, we're able to automate a lot of this. So what we actually get is a situation where suddenly we get a large amount of data very quickly, and in the middle here we can see two accounts are currently connecting the two together. From an investigative side of things, from a case side of things, these people might be brand new to the organization, or they might be individual suspects that we've come across before and we didn't know they were previously linked. And perhaps from a case perspective, we can now link multiple cases together and bring that information together as well. So this is just on the connection side of things. Within this platform as well, we can also look at the content people are posting. So similar to what you saw at the beginning, where we can analyze and understand the information within the actual social messages, that relates to this plugin as well. And we can start to expand to see who's having conversations, who's retweeting content, for example, and have all of that available on a very visual chart. So again, it's just a different way in which we can process this content and manage this information moving forward. So some of the next steps that we would invite you to take on. So as I said throughout, there's a free trial of SMC4 to leverage, sign up to, where you can connect the Farnet connector or the ECM connector, but also you can start to leverage the i2 plugin as well. So if you are an existing i2 user or have clients that have i2 installed on premise or in their infrastructure, then they can also look to use the SMC4 plugin free of charge as well on the SMC4 Lite version. We also offer the ability to have complaint audit reports as well. So similar to what you saw for Vodafone within the SMC4 demonstration, where we're analyzing their content and understanding what's being said online, we can run those similar reports for various customers of yours as well. And all you have to do is send across the company and the main social media sites you're interested in monitoring, and we'll load that into the system for a couple of days and pick out some of the juiciest content. So what we typically find is there's a high amount of complaints and also perhaps a high amount of inappropriate language, so profanities and data that you wouldn't necessarily want shared on your public-facing sites. So if this is of interest to yourselves, then please feel free to send an email across to either Samantha Cornborough at integrity.com or Courtney James at integrity.com as well. So we'll repeat this towards the end as well, just so you get this contact info, and Courtney will be in contact as well with a recording and the slides of this presentation. So as far as partnering with Integrity, what I'll look to do now is actually hand over to Courtney, and she can take you through the next couple of slides in order to take you through the partner process and how you guys actually can get rewarded for being a partner with Integrity. So Courtney, I've just unmuted you. You should be able to join in the fun now.
Thanks, Sam. So we would welcome partnering with you to target your customers with a differentiated solution, offering you as partners new revenue streams and deeper relationships with your customers. Next slide. So Integrity has a highly profitable partner program with a typical partner margin being between 15 to 50% commission, as well as generating long-term annuity revenues for partners. Next. So Integrity has a proven partnering sales and education process where we assist our partners in all aspects of customer deals. So we have an extensive partner training program educating in the key sales messages and technical design of the products. We have a partner portal where partners are able to access all of our latest collaterals and marketing materials such as presentations and brochures. We can also help with creating social media reports, as Sam mentioned. We have a dedicated pre-sales team who are able to assist and prepare tailored demos and presentations to customers, as well as assisting with proposals and technical requirements. And finally, we also have an after-sales help desk support service, ensuring the long-term success of the solution. So next. So this slide just explains our typical deal size, around 150k pounds, along with an example of commission breakdowns for partners. So I'd welcome holding further one-on-one partnering conversations with you if this is something of interest. I'll reach out to you shortly with a copy of the slide deck and a recording of today's webinar, and look to set up a call with you directly. So I'll hand back to Sam now for closing comments and a question and answer session. Thank you.